So let's wrap up this unit. We've been talking for 4 weeks, about human origins, about origin stories, and kind of we've attacked that from a few different angles. In Module 5, we talked about kind of the idea of origin stories in general, and then we delved into hominin evolution, and we learned, among other things, that Homo sapiens evolved and developed as bipedal, smart, hunter-gathering kind of groups of people. We also, so that our biological hardware is we walk on 2 legs, we have binocular vision, we are very good at learning, especially when we're young, but also just in general, and we are adapted to be omnivores and to be both hunters and gatherers. In Module 6, we learned about cultural changes that happened during that same time period of biological evolution, including the development of things like stone tools and fire and language and art. In Module 7, we learned about the huge changes as a result of the Neolithic Revolution about 15,000 to 10,000 years ago, when plants and animals began to be domesticated, and you suddenly had much larger groups doing much different kinds of food and society. And then in this current Module 18, we've discussed at length the rise of, quote, civilizations, writings, cities, etc., all of which seem to kind of trace back to agriculture. And the question is, besides having to learn this stuff so you can pass the test, did we really learn anything at all? If the point of anthropology is to tell us something about being a human being and what it means to be human and why our human experience is the way we are and why we're similar and different from each other and how to understand the other human beings around us, has this little trip down archaeology and physical anthropology and origins, has that really given us anything insightful? And I hope the answer is yes. And I'd like to share just a few thoughts of kind of insights that we can gain from this unit that maybe you can take with you when you leave this class long after you've forgotten the precise names of the different Australopithecine species, or long after you've forgotten exactly what the Neolithic Revolution was. I hope you can remember the following. Number 1, your body, my body, our bodies, they're adapted for activity, and that was the norm for most of human history. The fact that we sit in chairs and look at electronic boxes all days nowadays is not normal. Your body is adapted for activity. Your body is adapted for some meat and a whole lot of plants. It doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't do an all-plant diet. It's just to suggest that that's an interesting facet of our evolution, and your body is adapted for rapid learning. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're dumb. Don't let anybody ever tell you you're less than. You're brilliant. You're human. Human brains are incredible. And the fact that we differ in relatively minor ways between each other in terms of intelligence, and although we put a great stock on, well, this person's more intelligent than this person, at the end of the day, compared to the alternatives, compared to, for example, to an Australopithecine, you are insanely intelligent. So congrats. Your brain is hardwired to be smart, and more specifically, to learn, and to learn fast, and to learn well. You're also hardwired to be absurdly creative. When we look at the changes that occurred with stone tools and fire and language and art, those were insane amounts of creativity. The amount of mental creativity it takes to figure out how to make basically a serrated knife out of a stone is insane, or the ability to control fire or language. Humans are creative, even if sometimes it takes us a very long time to get there. We are very, very creative, and you are creative. Your ancestors were creative. You are creative. Number 3, thinking about the Neolithic Revolution, you're a product of domestication. Very, very few people nowadays live entirely on hunted or fished material, although certainly in Alaska, more of us live off of that than almost anywhere else in the United States. But most of us, at least some of our food, comes from domesticated plants and animals, and certainly our lifestyles, our technology bear the mark of things that came out of domestication. We live in huge groups, we get food from other people, and so on. And so we have a type of dependency on our technology, on our large groups, on our trade networks, that structure what it means to be a human, and structure things like why you have to get a job and go get a paycheck and not just walk outside and hunt. Again, it's kind of different in Alaska. Actually, a lot of us do go outside and hunt, but I'm just making the point that domestication changed everything for a lot of the world. Finally, thinking about Module 8, you write, you live in cities, you go to college, you pay taxes. These things were major changes that really weren't that long ago, about 5,000 years, and in some parts of the world, a lot more recent than that. So we live in a type of society because of our cultural changes that's very different than where our bodies evolved. Not to say it's a mismatch, just to say that in some ways our culture's changed a lot quicker than our bodies have, even though they've both been changing together. So I hope that this trip down memory lane, sort of Homo sapien memory lane, has been informative and enlightening. The class now is going to radically change gears as we move into Unit 3 and step away from origin stories and start getting into topics of a lot more kind of contemporary issues such as politics, religion, and economics. I'll see you there.